Your Raspberry Pi 5 is a tiny powerhouse, but only if you set it up correctly. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the fastest and safest way to install Raspberry Pi OS on your Raspberry Pi and get it ready for your home lab projects. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, we're going to kick off our Raspberry Pi series by setting up what is the start of many of your home labs, the Raspberry Pi 5. We're going to go from a fully blank micro SD card to a secure and remotely accessible server. We're going to cover flashing the operating system, setting up SSH access, user permissions, and setting a static IP address. Let's get into it. We're using the Raspberry Pi Imager because it allows us to pre-configure many settings before we even power on the Pi. And today we're going to be doing this on a micro SD card, and I have a Raspberry Pi 5 here. It is an 8 gig version. I have it in a Argon 1 V5 case. I'll put a link in the description below of where you can get all these products. We have a 128 gig micro SD card. It's the little guy here. And we're going to be using this external adapter. Your Raspberry Pi kit may have come with like a little micro SD card reader. Use whatever you want. Our first step will be downloading the Raspberry Pi Imager from the Raspberry Pi website, a link in the description below. Go ahead and download it and install it and run it. After you run it, go ahead and take your micro SD card, plug it into your card reader and plug it into your computer, and then we'll start going through these settings. Here we are at the Raspberry Pi Imager. The first thing we're going to do is select our device, Raspberry Pi 5, click next. And for this one, you can do any of these, but since we're going to make this a home lab server, we're going to go down here to Raspberry Pi OS Other, and then we want to choose Raspberry Pi OS Lite 64-bit. The reason we're doing the Lite edition is we don't want the desktop environment. That just takes up extra space. We don't want that on our system, extra resources, etc. We just want to go straight command line. So we'll choose that. We'll click next. This screen here is very important because whatever storage device you pick is going to be overwritten. It's going to be wiped clean, install the OS to it. For mine, it's going to be this USB device right here. So just make sure you choose the correct device. And if you have anything that's on it that you want backed up, now is the time to do that because again, this is going to wipe it clean. So click that and do next. Then you're going to name this system. So mine is going to be called Drax, and we do not want to skip customization, just FYI. We want to keep going there. So we'll go next. And here you're going to choose your capital city, your time zone, your keyboard layout. Select those and click next. Here you're going to enter in your username and your password. Your system will already have a root username, so you cannot choose root right here. So this is going to be your admin account, not your root account, but your admin account. So type in your name there, type in whatever you want your password to be, and hit next. Here is where you're going to set up your networking. If you're going to do Wi-Fi, you do that here. But since we're doing a home lab, we're not going to do Wi-Fi networking. I'm going to leave all of this blank and click next. If you want to do that, you can set it up there. When you get to this screen, we want to click Enable SSH and use password authentication. The reason is this is how we're going to remote into our server, and we'll show that a little bit later. We'll click next. And do you want to enable Raspberry Pi Connect? I'm not going to do that. That's so you can remote into the desktop via their servers and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click next. And if all of this looks good, we'll click right. And it says you're about to erase the data. Are you sure you want to? You'll click I understand and erase. And now you sit here and wait for it to get done. This customization is a real time saver. It's going to allow us to run the Raspberry Pi in what's called headless, no keyboard, mouse, or monitor plugged into it. Now that the Raspberry Pi OS is done writing to the card, put the card in the Raspberry Pi, plug into power and plug in the network cable, then turn it on. Wait about 60 seconds, and then we'll SSH into it. Now that the Raspberry Pi is all booted up, it's time to SSH into it from our local computer. What you're going to do is open up a command prompt or open up your favorite terminal software. For me, I'm going to open up a command prompt, but you could use PowerShell, you can use Mac Terminal, you can use your favorite terminal software. It's up to you. Once we're in our terminal, we're going to go SSH, and then the username that we set up when we did the installation. So for me, it's HAVOK. Then the name of your server, mine's gonna be drax.local. If you get an error that it can't find this address, what you'll do is go into your router and find the IP address it assigned to your server. And in that case, you're gonna do your username at the IP address. The way we can make sure that the system knows the IP address is we can do a ping. So we'll go ping, and then let's do Drax. And as you can see, we're getting a reply, drax.local. That is what we want. It is assigned 192.168.50.52 for my system. So I'll go SSH HAVOK at drax.local. We'll hit enter, and it's going to ask, is the fingerprint okay? We're going to just say yes. We'll Hit enter. We need to put in our password. This is the password that we set up during the configuration of the operating system. And there you go. We are now logged into our Raspberry Pi from our local system. There's no keyboard, no mouse, no monitor plugged into this, just power and a network cable. As you start your home lab journey, one of the big rules is always make sure your system is updated. And here we are going to go through and make sure our operating system is updated. And the command we're going to do here is sudo apt update, and then the double ampersand, and then sudo apt upgrade -y. Now we could do a couple things here. This is actually two commands that we're putting together into one. You could do just sudo apt update, let it do its thing, and then do the upgrade. The update is going to go out and check and see if there are updates for the operating system. And if it comes back and says, yes, there are updates, the upgrade is going to install those updates. The -y just makes it so we don't have to press yes in the middle of it. You don't have to worry about typing this in from the screen here. I'll put it in the description below for you to make it really easy for you to copy and paste. We'll hit enter. And it's going to go through and see, hey, there are going to be some packages. While it's doing its thing, let's talk about user security. We set up our first account when we're doing the configuration of the operating system. In my case, HAVOK. That is already going to be part of the sudo group or the admin group. However, if you're going to add any additional accounts in the future to your machine, you're going to have to add them to the sudo group if you want them to have admin access. So let me show you now how we add a user to the sudo group. To add a user to the admin group or the sudo group, we're going to go ahead and do this command here, sudo usermod-ag, then sudo new username. The new username is going to be obviously the name of the new account. We're going to add them to the sudo group. So for me, I'll just do HAVOK. Then once you do that, the user should be in the sudo group. We'll have to log out and log back in. However, since we just did an upgrade to the system, I'm going to go ahead and reboot and we'll log back in. Now let's go ahead and set the static IP address on the system. Log back into your terminal. We're going to go ahead and do sudo nmtui, and you can do this via the command line. But for this example, we're going to do kind of their command line GUI. So that's what the sudo nmtui does. We'll do that. And you can see here, it says, please select an option. We are going to edit a connection, but we can also change the server name if we wanted to right here. But we'll do edit a connection. We're going to do wired. So we'll go over here to edit. You'll press tab and then the down arrow, and you can name this whatever you want. I would leave all of this the same. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to go down here to where it says IPv4 configuration. We'll hit enter. We'll change it to manual. And then we'll go over here to show, go to address. Here's where you're going to enter the IP address, and it's going to be most likely on your local network. Probably a 192.168.1. whatever, or a 192.168.0. whatever address. If you're not sure, log into your home router and take a look at what your IP address settings are there. For me, I'm going to do 192.168.50.35, and we're going to go down to gateway, and this is going to be our router address. So mine's 192.168.50.1. If you just logged into your router to take a look at what the IP range was, this is the address you're putting here. DNS servers, I'm going to go ahead and do the primary one being my local, which is going to be 192.168.50.1. If you want, you can also put an external server here, and that could be like Google's, which is 8.8.8.8, or Cloudflare's is 1.1.1.1, but most likely your router is going to be handling DNS for your network. And we're not going to do any domain stuff there, so we'll go ahead and go down all the way here where it says OK. Click OK. We'll go over to back, and we're going to do quit. And now we need to reboot the system. Before we do that, something to note, once you do that, your connection here that you have open to the terminal is not going to work because it's connected to the old address. Once your system reboots, we're going to connect to that new address that we just typed in. So go ahead and reboot your system. Now that your system is rebooted, get back into your terminal software, and we're going to SSH back into our system with that new address. SSH HAVOK at directs.local. And if it worked, looks like it's going to, we're in. It is now assigned that static IP address we set. If it says that it cannot find your device by the name, it just takes a while sometimes for your DNS on your router to update. If that's the case, you could just do SSH, your username, at the IP address, whatever we set, and that'll work just fine. And there you go. Your Raspberry Pi now has an operating system, is updated, and has a home on your network. In the next video of this series, we're going to be installing Docker and running our first self-hosted services. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see the rest of the Raspberry Pi series. And before we go, would you like to see your name in the videos? If so, head over to HAVOKclub.com and get signed up. Our squad members get a lot of perks, including seeing their name at the end of videos. So again, head on over to HAVOKclub.com and join the squad today. Until next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep doing good.